Hi folks, this is Kent with Geographic Enterprises. Thanks for visiting our MapMaker site. I want to walk you through a quick demonstration of how to use the application. It's fairly easy, but there's always some questions along the way. If there are any questions at any time, feel free to give us a call at 1-888-848-4GEO or 4436 is the end of that number. We'll be happy to help you out however we can. First thing you do is identify a center location for your map. Regardless of whether you want a point location on your map or not, it's just an area to define to get started with. So you can put in an address, just a zip code, a point of interest even, whatever's going to get you to where you want to be on your map. So let's do that. We'll jump down into Wake Forest. This goes to the center of that zip code in this case. It replaces it with Wake Forest, the name. So if I wanted to go to downtown, I just click again and it'll jump there as well. And you've got the regular Google Maps navigation tools, so if you want to zoom in and out and look at more or less detail, you're able to do that very easily. If you're happy with the location that you've identified, you can click the Continue button, or if you like, you can click and drag the icon anywhere where you want the center of your map to be. So I'm pretty much going to leave it where it is. We'll hit Continue, and we'll move to the next step. Once you're here, you define a radius of the map coverage area that you want around your location. Now you can show the radius on the map or choose not to show the radius. It's really a way of kind of defining how large of an area that you want to be able to show on your wall map. So I'm going to go in and create a 10-mile radius around this particular location, and we'll take a look at the coverage area. It'll draw your radius on the map, and then you've got these pins in the corners of the map that you can move around. So if you don't like it and you want something bigger, you can change this and say let's go to 15 miles, and it'll bump it out to 15 miles. And if you want to move your pins around and change the area that you've got, you can do that as well to specify exactly the area that you want within that. So if we're happy with that, we will hit the Continue button. It takes us to the next step. You can put in a map title, whatever you like here, and it'll appear at the top of your map, and then you can choose the orientation for your map, either landscape or portrait. In this case, landscape is probably more appropriate for what I want, so I'm going to leave that alone. You can show your map with the ring that you had created or without. In this case, I'm not going to include the ring. And then you've got 4 different map styles that you can select from of how you want your map to look. Premium, color cast, red line, or basic. I'm going to leave it as the premium, which is probably the most attractive. And the next step, you have some options on the level of street and highway detail that you want to show. So you've got full street highway detail, major streets and highways, or just the highways. And typically, just the highways is if you're doing something that's a big chunk of a state or multiple states, that kind of a thing. Otherwise, the other two are probably more appropriate. So if I want the full street and highway detail, you can select that, and based on the level of detail that you need, it will let you know what size maps you would need to use to be able to see all the information. You can't have all the streets on a really small map for a large area. It just would be totally unreadable. So in this case, it's got the 90 by 120 size map. Perhaps we want to back down from that and say let's do the major streets and highways. We'll do a 48 by 64 size map for that, which is about 4 by 5.5 feet. One thing, make sure that you've got a good size area on a wall to put your wall map. When we get into the larger sizes, the largest size here is a 9 by 12 foot map, which is very big. So we just want to make sure you're not ordering a map that you are not actually able to use because you can't put it on your wall. If you're happy with your selections that you've made here, you hit Continue, and it takes you to the e-commerce side of the site where it records the definition of your map, and then you basically go through a checkout process. You set up an account if you don't already have one. You can select the finishing options that you might want for your map: synthetic paper, wooden rails, spring rollers, mounting. It can be magnetized as well. Whatever might be appropriate. Not all the options are available for all the different sizes. So whatever makes sense. In this case, we're going to grab some wooden rails, and we'll add that to our cart. You go through the checkout process. You've got your MapMaker OID here, which defines what your map is. and we can print and drop ship your map within a couple of business days to you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to give us a call anytime. Number again is 1-888-848-4436. And again, thanks for visiting our site, and hope we can be of service to you.